You are about to witness history in the making.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another show of the Pop Culture Gamers podcast. My name's Haydn, and I'm your host for this evening. And as always, I'm here with my good friend Steve. Steve, how are you doing?
Yes, thank you very much. That's nice to call me a good friend after what I called you last week.
Yeah, well, good friends can do that, can't they? Have you ever noticed when people argue?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know, when you're friends, you call each other idiot and whatever. But when you're really aggressive towards something, it's like, all right, pal, buddy. Have you ever noticed that? It's sort of like so contrary to what you would think.
It's like when your boss you walk into an office, say where your boss is and that, and he goes, Mr. Simpson, can you come this way, please? You think, oh crap, what have I done now? He never calls me by that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But it's not that often me anyway, so I'm all right.
No. But, well, you're out and about most of the time, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, tell us about your week, because I know that you've been on call this week.
Yeah, so it's been when I'm on call, the week I'm on call, I don't focus on anything because I'm always looking at my phone to see when it's going to go off.
Yeah.
But you try to forget about it. But one little thing was pretty cool this week, that if you remember the Kickstarter that I've joined, which is for the definitive 80s horror documentary.
Yeah, it's a catchy title.
It is. I love it. And there's a new trailer on Bloody Disgusting, which is that's a great place to go and visit. And the reason being, the new trailer's up because I think they've now finished all the filming they need to do, so post-production or whatever.
Yeah. And
this month only, they're going to take pre-orders to join the Kickstarter. So if anyone's interested in going, that you can go to Twitter at 80s horror doc, and you can look at the campaign and see what cool rewards, depending on how much you want to put across to pick it up.
So what are some of the rewards?
So I did the Herbert West. I think it's called Herbert. Yeah, it's from Reanimator. So what I've done is I pick up the Blu-ray of the documentary. I pick up a soundtrack. A digital download of it as well, of the documentary, and I get a huge poster as well, sort of thing. So the documentary is about 3 hours long, so not cheapskating on who they got. I mean, if you watch the trailer for it and you're into horror, they're interviewing near enough everybody that you can think of that defines 80s horror. You know, and it's funny because I've been really getting into it of late. That's why when we talk about movies, I will talk a little bit about it, but I sat and watched Nightmare on Elm Street from 1985.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really enjoyed those movies from that era, you know. Some are more horror than others, obviously like The Thing and stuff like that. But I think it's a great, I mean, the documentary looks like it's going to be really cool. And if you're into that sort of stuff, it's worth a look down. But,
yeah, definitely.
Anyway, so I ordered a bit of vinyl this week. That won't be coming probably till next month, but it's the horror score to Reanimator. This is a repress because the last one was hard to pick up. It sold out pretty much there and then. This one, they've done a second one for Waxworks, so look forward to picking it up. And I did actually watch some of that this week as well. I don't know, have you seen Reanimator before? Have you heard of it?
Years ago. It's about a bloke who injects people and brings them back to life, isn't it? Basically a mad scientist sort of thing. That's
it, yeah.
Because he also did Reanimator 2.
Yes, there was a sequel. I think there might have been a third one, but yeah, really cool. But yeah, so I've been looking at that this week. Gaming's been a bit poor because I can't concentrate while being on call. So I have been playing Destiny 2 Season of the Drifter this week, of course.
We've both been doing that.
Yeah, but you haven't been playing with me and Chris, have you? So
no, because
I've been on PC.
For some of it, but I've also been on Xbox.
Oh, okay.
So I'm about 643 now, my light level.
Well, we can talk about how you can speed up that if you haven't looked at it yet or not. I don't know, but we can chat about that later on when we get to games. How about yourself? Have you been up to much?
Not really, to be quite honest. I've been trying to do a bit more streaming, although I just haven't had the chance, the opportunities to really do it too much this week.
Yeah.
But I've had a couple of sessions. But when people are coming in, they've been really quiet. So come on, guys. If you do come in, at least say hello. I'll give you a shout out. But one of the things I was messing about with Streamlabs, because that's what I'm using to stream for the PC.
Yeah. And
interestingly enough, what they've actually do is they give you the opportunity to create a merchandise store.
That's right.
Yeah. So you can now get your official Pop Culture Gamers mug or your official Pop Culture Gamers t-shirt by visiting our merch store.
And I saw someone on Twitter that I saw someone was up for a mug or two. So
yeah, exactly. So that's good. I've tried to keep the price of it as low as possible.
How much? Was it? How much were the mugs? I'm trying to remember. Was it about 15, 17 quid or something?
$15 or $17.
Dollars. Oh, okay. So that for us would be
13, 14 quid.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, and I think that's delivered, if I remember rightly, as well. T-shirts are in your multiple sizes up to triple XL as well. So a couple of things. Might add some more stuff if people are interested in it at all, but I thought the normal stuff that people want isn't probably mugs and t-shirt. If you want a bigger mug, then let me know and then I can arrange that as well.
Is it one of those, like a sort of pint mug, is it?
Yeah, it's like a bit, it's in ounces, and to me that means absolutely nothing. Because it's sort of like mugs are pretty standard sizes, but you can now get these super big mugs. I think it is a super big mug.
I like the super big mug, especially if I'm going to have a soup of some kind.
Yeah, they're good for that sort of thing.
That's it. So cool.
So I set up that, which was quite good. I've ordered a couple of Blu-rays this week.
I saw. Yeah, a couple of good ones as well. Yeah, a
couple of good ones. Sleepy Hollow and Little Shop of Horrors. And do you know what? I'd forgotten that John Candy was in that movie.
Oh, really? Because he's a DJ, isn't he?
Yeah, but what got me was on the cover of it. I think Steve Martin was absent from the cover, but John Candy was. Now, Steve Martin with the Dentist song was like, synonymous with that film, as far as I'm concerned. I absolutely loved that movie. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I've always been after a Blu-ray copy. But I weren't sure, because it was. You have to let me know. Well, we'll talk about later on about the quality of it, because the problem is with a lot of 80s movies, sometimes the quality is not as good as even the DVD would have been. So,
well, what you got to remember though is as well, if they've captured it from the actual film, because it would have been filmed in those days, then the quality is actually better. So it really does depend greatly. I mean, you can get an 8K version of 2001, or it's been broadcast. So, and that's because they shot it in 75mm or 70mm, whichever it was.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking on eBay at a couple of movies I was after. Actually, I was after Halloween 2. Yeah. So this would have been the Carpenter version, not the reboot that was done sort of about 10 years ago, which was Rob Zombie. And the 30th anniversary on sort of eBay is only going for about 11 quid. So that's pretty good. So I always have a good look. And actually, there's a couple of things there. There's like Christine. I was after the Christine. It's a 4K of that.
Yes.
Which is about 28 quid. But I think it's a region free copy. So
yeah,
they obviously cost a little bit more sometimes.
The interesting thing about it, so if you think about older movies and 4K, especially the John Carpenter ones, is you've got all of the like special edition 4K ones. They're actually just doing the film in 4K now as well, about 20 quid. Well,
that's right, because the box sets I've got.
They've got, because I've got one as well, because I've got the Escape from New York one. And it's got the soundtrack and the normal Blu-ray and book and all that with it.
That's it, yeah.
But if you don't want all of that, you just want the movie, you can get it now for about £20.
Yeah, I think Sainsbury's are doing them, I think, if I remember rightly, because I did have a little nose in there the other day, and I saw They Live was their disc-only sort of thing, if that's what people are after.
Yeah.
We've got the Alien 4K edition coming in April for its anniversary. So that would probably be a purchase.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple of rumoured 4K releases I was looking at, but for some reason it's not gone to UK, and it's like I was looking at, I think it was Dawn of the Dead, which will be the 1978 George A. Romeo, and it's like 90 quid. I don't get it. I'm thinking, hold on a minute.
They're paying silly money because it's, an early adopters market at the moment. When it becomes mainstream, the prices will drop. I reckon what you'll see is Blu-ray dropping to 13 quid for each one. And then I reckon that 4K movies will either be 15 or 17 when it all settles down. And, we're 4 or 5 years into the 4K Blu-ray cycle.
Now, I'll tell you why this is expensive, actually. I've just been having a look, because I picked up on eBay, I was after all the cuts from Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
And there's about 4. There's like a Dario Argento cut, there's a European cut, and so on and so forth. So I picked up a American DVD for that, which then I bought a remote hack for my Blu-ray player, and it now will play American discs. And it's really weird, because I thought if I turn it off, I'll have to use the hack again, but no, it works fine. So every time I put the disc in, it doesn't ask for it. But when I go to my Xbox, it tells you to bog off because you can't play it.
Yeah.
But the 4K edition of Dawn of the Dead is is a 6-disc limited edition. Right. So
well, that'll explain why it's so expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some there. I can have a little look, because there's a few out there. There's an Italian release for 27 quid, but does that mean it's got the English on it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm sure it will. If you have a look in the thing, it'll say that what languages are available.
Yeah.
Because I have to admit, I was looking through, and I've been looking for Dune on Blu-ray.
Oh, I ain't seen that movie in years.
I know, and I really fancied seeing it. And I was looking, and you can either pay silly prices like 30 quid for a Blu-ray, or get one that is still our region, but it's like primary languages in Italian, but there is an English one on there, or German or whatever. And I thought, I'm just gonna, because I've got it on DVD, but it's just not as good watching it on DVD. And I love that movie. I know that people slate it, but to be honest, Dune as a book is, I think, really, really hard to translate to the screen. So I think that, the job that was done on it was absolutely fine. It took what it needed to. It added some new mythology because the wielding modules were different.
Oh, just looking at this one, the one I was on about. Actually, it says here, looking at it, Region B Blu-ray, Region 3 4K UHD. So if it's Region 3,
then it plays on anything.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it says Italian, but looking at the back of the box, when I look at the cut, that is, let's have a look, that is in Italian, but will it play in English? That's be any problem.
Well, what you've got to do is look to see if it's got the audio track in English. Because if it has, then it'll play in it. Because you remember, most Blu-rays or DVDs you put in, it comes up with what language do you want.
Oh, man, this is so cool, because it's got the European Cut 4K, the European Cut Blu-ray, the European Cut full frame, the theatrical version, and the extended version. So it's a great little package. So I'll have to Google that in a bit. Multitask. It ends in 1 hour 30 minutes. If you hear me go, yes, I've probably bought it.
Oh, it's a bid, is it? Did you say?
This one is, yeah.
Oh, leave it till the last 30 seconds.
Oh, I always do, mate. But yeah,
I've never not won on eBay when I've used that tactic.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's it's worth doing, I think, actually.
Yeah.
I've got some other bits coming from eBay, I remember now, but you forget sometimes when you order something And then you get that email saying it's in Sainsbury's ready for collection. You think, oh, what have they got coming? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what else have you been up to? Anything else?
Well, obviously Bohemian Rhapsody was released this week, so I went and got that in 4K.
Yeah.
All the 4K splendour of that. Have you watched that movie yet?
No, because I've been on call. I didn't want to watch it yet, so I might get to watch it. I don't know about next weekend because I'll talk to you about it later. I'm away for a couple of days next weekend.
Yeah.
But
okay.
yeah,
we'll sort that out. I must admit, though, it was quite amusing because I thought, right, normally what happens, because Tesco in Northallerton gets so few 4Ks in, when it's like a big popular movie like that, they've run out of them by the time you go at 5 o'clock when you finish work. So I thought, right, I'm going to go to Tesco before I go to work. So I walked in Tesco. They have a massive stand of Bohemian Rhapsody. No 4K, Blu-ray or DVD. So, right, okay. I'll go down to the actual DVD aisle. Nothing there. No one about. Couldn't get hold of it, so I left. Drove over to the opposite side of Northallerton, went to Sainsbury's. They had it in. Picked it up, fine. Not a problem. But what I did was, I thought, I'm going to tweet Tesco to say, went in, couldn't find it, had to go to Sainsbury's. You were my first choice, but thanks to Sainsbury's for having it. Went in the next day, there was like 6 copies of the 4K in there sat there. I thought, to be honest, it's no good now. Horse has already bolted. You should have had those in day one, because anybody who's wanted it on that day would have gone to the other side of town to get it.
Crazy.
So, yeah, it is. And it just was something that tickled me. But other than that, gaming-wise, I'm gearing up for the big release this week, which is The Division 2.
Yes,
and I got quite a good deal on this. I feel I got a good deal. I know that you can buy it probably a little bit cheaper on CD keys. Well, £3 cheaper. But in terms of what I did was, anybody who's played Uplay on the PC, what you can do is you get Uplay credits for doing certain achievements within games. And if you buy anything, you also get Uplay credits as well. So one of the things that they do, because people tend not to spend them, they just sit there and accumulate, and you buy a couple of bits for the games that you like and then leave them for the next game. What I thought was, actually, on the store, they say if you cash in 100, you get 20% off. So, okay, so that knocks it down, to 40. But what was a sweetener was Ghost Recon Wildlands was offered for free, or you could have Far Cry Primal or Watch Dogs 2, I think it was, for free if you bought it on the Uplay store. So I thought, well, I wanted it on PC because it was a game I enjoyed playing more on PC than console. So I've gone PC route, and now, so for $39.99, 2 games.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was good value.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Wildlands a hell of a good game.
Yeah, we have played some of that a little bit, haven't we? So
we need to play a lot more of that when we can peel you, surgically remove you from Destiny.
When there's new stuff out in Destiny, that's what let the
but by the end of the week, you've done all of the new stuff. So just move on.
No, I'm only 260 something at the moment. Anyway, but
260 what?
My light level now.
Why is your light level so low? You're doing another character?
Oh no, sorry. 260. What is it now? Sorry, I'm just see. I can't
660.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm 600. Yeah, I'm 664. I think maybe.
Yeah, I'm catching up on you now. Considering that you were well over 100 ahead of me.
Well, we'll discuss about how that works now. But yeah, you will slow down, mind you. But
well, to be honest, it hasn't been that fast this week either, because I've done most of the things that you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let's not talk about it now, though, because
yeah. We'll move on to gaming this week.
No longer a dream, but a reality.
All right, so this week we've got a couple of bits of news. Steve, do you want to do Crackdown, and I'll talk about our other bit?
Okay, so Crackdown 1 and Crackdown 2 at the moment are totally free to download on your Xbox One and 360.
Yeah.
And this is not an Xbox Live Gold account required, so it's totally free. And we're talking about the original two games.
Yeah.
Worth downloading. I mean, I did go and pick up number 2 this morning. I actually just I'll download it, so I own it. But I never completed it. I didn't find it as much fun as the original.
I've heard a lot of people say that. To be honest, I didn't find the first one a lot of fun, but I found the third one fun.
Maybe if you went back to the first one, you'd may be surprised. Because they did do a clean-up of the first one as well.
Yeah, isn't it sort of like a
enhanced,
super HD thing?
That's right.
Yeah, I might give it a go. Although I've got a lot to get on with.
Well, to be honest, I was looking. I just had an update on my Xbox for Tomb Raider, which I really need to play.
To be honest, I would just sell your copy of it because it's on Game Pass.
No, I've got digital copy. So
tough luck then.
Yeah, tough luck. Yeah, but that is I've got like an Uber edition. It was in the sale, so there's no problem with that. But it's a franchise that I adore, but I've just not. It's like anything really. There's games to play when you feel like it, and games you don't want to play, and it just depends how you feel.
I have to admit, Tomb Raider, I'm struggling with because the original revamped Tomb Raider, the first Tomb Raider game in this trilogy of ones, I really enjoyed, and I completed that on like 3 platforms. Come the second one, Rise of the Tomb Raider, really, really struggled with it. And then come the third one, I'm back to the same position in it as well. I'm just I got to the bit where you're in the village, and I started to lose all will to live. I just felt like it wasn't progressing.
Well, the second one, which had all the hair in it, isn't it? Is that what you used to say about it?
The second one, I got to that bit in Siberia where you have to go up the hill or whatever it is, and I just couldn't get any sense of direction on that.
Well, I did finish that one as well, and it's a thoroughly good story. It's well worth, because it's like an Assassin's Creed game of such, isn't it? The map and what you've got to do in the map, sort of thing.
Yeah, in a way.
So again, if you then think, what can I play that I haven't played? Maybe I just want to dig into it anyway.
Maybe.
But like this game, I don't know if we've got the Games for Gold list later. There's some new games there coming out, and it's ongoing at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of games come out recently, and they've all been big ones as well.
Yeah, funnily enough, though, I did put the PlayStation on this morning.
Was that just to blow the dust out of the fans?
Cool. Yeah, of course it was. No, it was to just download the Call of Duty.
Yes. Yeah, good game is that.
And I thought I'd better do that now before I forget.
Yes.
But then I looked at it again, and this is funny because I was thinking, they only 2 games now. What's going on? I'm thinking, what are Sony playing at?
Do you know, I have to admit, you're the only person I know who's saying Sony aren't releasing enough games. I think you're getting Microsoft and Sony mixed.
No. What I mean is on the passes for Live, they've only got 2 games there now, haven't they? So what if they could have a real bad month, only having 2 that aren't.
But to be fair, the 2 that are there are better than the ones that are on Xbox.
Oh, without a doubt, 100%. But it'd be interesting to see how these months progress now. Yeah. Are they going to try and put a really good game in each month to counteract the amount of games that Microsoft put out, maybe?
I think, to be honest, they're going to have to really up the game in terms of that. Now that they've got rid of PS3 and Vita, I think they're going to have to either increase the number of games that they give or make them better.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to talk about Anthem?
Yeah, it's been a heck of a week for Anthem from people saying, oh God, it's people saying it's been bricking their consoles, particularly a PlayStation issue more than an Xbox, although there has been some reports of Xbox is being bricked. Personally, I'm not really sure that that's the case. I can imagine that maybe something's happened that's made them shut down, but I doubt bricked because that's really quite serious. But evidently, Sony have been giving people refunds for the game. But BioWare are not down and out completely yet. What's happened a couple of days ago is BioWare pushed out the Anthem patch 1.0.3, which was a few days earlier than the scheduled launch of it, which was due on the 12th of March. And that has some major bug fixes, including stability fixes on there as well. It's also addressing some of the connection issues. For me, one of the best things that they have done is the respawn restrictions have been removed, as well as a number of audio enhancements. But the respawn issue, what was happening was you were in a multiplayer game, or, because unless you're doing free roam, you have to go in a team. It puts you in a team automatically, which is a bit of a pain in the backside. But hey ho. So what they've done is, or the way the game was working was you would, if you died, you would just, drop to the ground, and then your suit would have to be rejuvenated by somebody else in your team. But what happened was people just ran straight past you, and they didn't stop. And it's like there's been some games where I was sat there for about 4 or 5 minutes before someone had come and revived me because you couldn't just respawn. So what they've done is they've taken like the Destiny model. So depending upon whether or not you're in a respawn restricted area or a normal area, your respawn will either be about 10 seconds or 30.
Right.
So it's much more along the Destiny kind of model, which I think is a better way of going, because then if you are with a load of complete idiots who haven't got the idea of a cooperative game, then, you can, make up for that to some extent, rather than sitting there waiting for someone who would think, oh, actually they're down. Plus the fact the game doesn't really mark where you are that well. So, sometimes I think it might be people not noticing you, but when you can see people running past you, it is annoying, especially when there's nothing around you to shoot at them reviving you. Other things that have happened as well, let's have a look. So we've got the respawn timers. There's been some non-end game missions of now. The respawn count has been done, as well as strongholds, legendary contacts, and other endgame missions, and all now set up to 30 as well. There's been loot changes, so common items, which are white, and uncommon drops, which are green, will no longer appear at players above level 30. There's been supposedly improved stability for all platforms, and it fixed a number of issues that were causing crashes or connection problems. I'm still having connection problems with the game. One that I was most annoyed with was we were like seconds away from destroying the stronghold boss, and I lost connection to the server. That was annoying. Very, very annoying. But, here we go. And there's also been a number of other fixes as well in terms of the audio. There's also been stuff that they've done in terms of balancing some of the weapons as well. All sorts of stuff. There's a massive long list. VG247 has a list of all of the things that are, all of the fixes for the patch. But it's going to be it's one of many patches. The problem with, I think, the game is this financial year thing, and about getting the game out early enough so that it can actually bring back money in that financial year. BioWare did the same thing with Mass Effect. It harms the game. You know, Mass Effect Andromeda wasn't a bad game, but when it launched, it was awful because of all of the bugs. And Anthem's suffering exactly the same thing. And what this game feels like to me is very much like it's on the path that No Man's Sky was on, but also with a bit of the Destiny stuff in there, that where people level criticisms as well. So the game's fine to play when it works, but when it doesn't work, it's dead annoying.
Do you think all of this is still going to affect its base of players?
Undoubtedly. Until they get it all sorted out, and there'll be some people who just won't go back to it. I think it's too dangerous to release games in an unfinished state, and this was not really finished. Either that, or else it had really terrible testers.
I don't understand just of late games that are really sort of not being well thought out for their launch. Do you know what I mean? So
I think it's been more of an issue this gen than any other time.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. I mean, we've had a few other games that, you know, obviously you mentioned No Man's Sky, for example. But are these developers being bullied into getting these games out a bit earlier than they should do?
I think there will be, yeah.
Because we see there's been a few layoffs of late as well from some companies.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on the developers, I think. Because
this is still one of the biggest forms of entertainment.
Well, it's bigger than the movie industry nowadays.
It is, believe it or not. So it's a real shame. I mean, I'd like to at some point maybe dig deep into it, but it's just right. I just hear all what's going on. I think, well, I don't want to bother, you know, when it's like this.
Yeah, well, it's better than it was, but like I said, they said they've fixed the connection problems. I haven't. I'm still having them, and that was after the install of the patch.
Yeah.
In a matter of fact, the second patch that they did was the most stable that had the game when it was launched. But what I was still having, and I'm still having before and now, was when I launched a game, about once every 3 times I launch a game, it comes up with Anthem is taking too long to load. You know, please wait a couple of seconds and then try again. Error code, whatever. And then it goes back to the dashboard, which is really, really annoying. But then when you launch it again, it normally connects. But when I did patch number 2, I got less of that. And I never got booted out of the game once, I think, on patch 2. But I've started to get booted out again on patch 3. So they've unsettled something that was for me more stable. So
yeah,
it's a funny old game. Is video games.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. What was that?
I think that was my phone somewhere beeping away.
Someone was talking in the background or something.
Yeah, I think it was my phone. I think it was Siri.
Ah, okay.
I don't know why Siri suddenly decided to talk or what it said.
Tell her to shut up.
So, yeah, anyway, do you want to do the new releases or did you have another bit of news, did you say?
No, we I think we've discussed last week, so it was
right, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so new releases. So the first one here we got for the 12th of the month. We've got Hyperspace Outlaw, digital only on PC. Then for the 15th, we've got One Piece World Seeker, and that is Xbox, PC and PlayStation 4. We have Space Hulk on the Switch. We've got Lego Movie 2, the video game, on the Switch. We've got the Caligula Effect Overdose, PlayStation 4 and Switch. And of course, the big one this week, or say this month, will be Tom Clancy's The Division 2 on all platforms.
Unless, of course, you've got the PC version on Uplay, in which case it's the 12th.
Yeah.
Get it 3 days early.
For what it's worth.
Woohoo. One thing I would say is, though, that the Lego movie is actually already out. I think they must have brought forward the release date on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, this week's charts, we've got at number 5, down 1 from last week, we have Red Dead Redemption. At number 4, new entry, the Lego Movie 2 video game. At number 3, down from 2, we have Far Cry New Dawn. Up from number 3 to 2 is FIFA 19. It's still hanging in there. But at number 1 for the second week is Anthem. So obviously all of the bad press isn't really affecting it that much.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Anyway, Steve, do you want to tell us about your Destiny gaming this week?
Well, I'll tell you what, should we leave that? Do you want to bring in your stuff first? So you got quite a bit.
All right.
And then we can just jump on Destiny 2 at the end, maybe.
Okay. Well, I'll start off with Anthem then, since we've already been talking about that. So, I have to say, it's a bit of a love-hate relationship for me, is this game at the moment. I love playing it, but I hate it when it crashes. Or it won't load properly. And I have had several issues with the game playing. However, it's been a lot more stable on patch 2. Patch 3 has addressed some of the issues, but there's still a little bit of instability in there, as I've already said. I think that the enhancements in terms of the respawn are a godsend for the gameplay. It's really made the game a little bit easier to play in that sort of respect. I'm getting more used to the flying mechanism as well. I'm starting to get better gear, so getting blue gear now rather than the green.
I remember those days in a certain other game.
yes, indeed. So there's a lot of similarities with Destiny. But the world is just so lush and so beautiful to go around. I think one of the main issues I have with the game, and I know that this could be addressed probably by changing the gamma on my TV or on the game itself, but is sometimes when you're flying around, it gets really dark. And you can't really see where the heck you're going, which is a bit weird.
Well, some people have the same issue with Destiny occasionally. I don't know if it's just their TV settings.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've calibrated it pretty much the same way as I would calibrate Destiny. So I don't know what's going on with it. But sometimes, I could be looking and thinking, where on earth am I supposed to be flying and fly straight into a wall? It's a bit weird. But another thing as well is, you said that when you were flying, if as soon as you hit something, you'd go careering down to a crash.
Yes.
I think that they've tweaked that because I've hit things and just bounced off some stuff. Depends upon in what direction I hit them. If I hit them head on, then that's it. I'll crash. But otherwise, you tend to bounce off stuff now, which might be an enhancement that they've done. It certainly would make sense. But I'm definitely loving the Storm Javelin, which is the elemental one, because, there, you can change the elements that you use, a bit like Destiny, really, apart from you can, fire ice bolts and fireballs or, whatever, lightning bolts, all sorts of stuff. And you can change those as you're going along as well. Or not going along, but when you get back to the forge, you can, upgrade to... if you found a new ability that's on a higher level, you can change it to that. Yeah. But some of the upgrades, they will affect things like the availability of your ammo for certain weapons, or reinforce your armour and stuff like that, and some won't. So everything's sort of got a bit of a trade-off somewhere along the line, which makes it quite interesting and about getting the right balance in terms of your javelin when you played, especially in the earlier levels, probably. Yeah,
I suppose it's just getting used to how to use everything, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm level 12 now, so I'm not really high up on the game, but it's not through lack of trying. A lot of the time, it's because the game's crashed, and I thought I'll go on to something else. But I do keep going back to it. It's a game that keeps pulling me back in because it is good fun to play. When you get to play it, it'd be great to have a few people that I know around me, so that you can go and do strongholds and stuff like that. But at the moment, I'm the only one who's seen, that I'm playing it on Xbox. So there you go. Yeah. So I think don't be a slave to the media in terms of this game. Don't listen to all of the hate for it. Because the more I'm sort of like watching the media now, the more I'm thinking there's time to take less and less notice of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in terms of social media, I mean by that. And even actually the media itself, because I don't know whether or not you're aware, but there's a heck of a thing going on with Brie Larson, with Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And, you know, it's just her going on about, you know, like, well, the pointed hatred is supposed to be against white males, you know, and Disney doesn't want white males coming and seeing a movie, and Brie Larson's been
Really?
insulting with, about white males and stuff like that. And there's all of this. And nowadays I'm starting to think, actually, a lot of these things are maybe not the agendas of the movies, but they're just the agendas of the people who want to be famous for 5 minutes.
Mm.
And do you know what? Brie Larson's entitled to her own opinion on stuff. And if she's saying whatever it is, you know, it's like, woman power and whatever, yeah, whoopie-doo. But to be honest, most of the bosses I've ever had in my career have been women. So I have no problem with woman power. I'm surrounded by, you know, high-level women. I'm surrounded by high-level men, you know, in my work, you know, who are paid a lot of money to do whatever it is that they do. It doesn't really matter. We're all just people, just so boring.
Mm.
So I'm quite looking forward to Captain Marvel and going to see that, and just avoiding all of the hype about it. But I think that Anthem is suffering from exactly the same thing. People who are jumping on a bandwagon in order to get themselves noticed.
Mm.
Which takes away from the whole point of actually doing a proper review.
Yeah, well, these days, some of these games are the ongoing reviews nowadays, aren't they?
Well, some games you have to have ongoing reviews because the game can change from 1 month to the next. Look at Destiny. You know, that changes every, 4 months? They bring new stuff in, and then the interim bits that they have in between.
Yeah, and then they update the sandbox and everything else.
Yeah. So, you know, I just wish a lot of these videos would just disappear now. I think that there are very few people who do genuine reviews online.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do, you know, jumping onto a bandwagon.
There's too many bandwagons, really, isn't there, at the minute?
Oh, God, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to my next game. So my next game is Headlander.
Yeah, I think I did see this morning when I was just browsing the Game Pass.
Yes. Is it on Game Pass or is it? It's not Gold, is it? It is Game Pass.
It's Game Pass, yeah.
Yeah. So Headlander, basically, it's a futuristic platform puzzle adventure game. Is the only way I can really describe it. It's obviously third person, but that you're looking at it. And basically, in the future, robots have taken over wherever humanity was, and you're the lone survivor of the human race or something like that. And basically, you're a disembodied head in a space helmet with a rocket pack where your neck should be. And in this world, there are a number of robots that you can rip their heads off and then take over their bodies to achieve specific tasks.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the story. Okay, basically, you have to. I can't remember what it is that you have to, or why you're doing everything that you're doing, but basically that's where you are. So you've got to escape this base or whatever it is, space station. So the way that the game plays is you can either walk around using an alien body, which is one of the mechanics of the game, which is if you're a certain coloured body, you'll be able to open up certain doors. So, like, you start off, you know, you're like a white suit, that's just a very basic sort of thing. But then you can move on and get a red robot to get through into red areas, a yellow one, an orange one, a blue one, whatever. You know, and that works quite surprisingly well, actually. The other robots will attack you because they know that you're human. or what's left of you is human, and you can fly over to them, or you can either shoot them if you've got a body, or you can fly over to them. And when you fly over, you can then use your tractor beam to rip the heads off, and then you can take over their bodies.
Okay.
So it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, sort of cheesy kind of game. The styling is very future modern retro, from the 60s. Together with, actually, I think that the filter that they must put over the game, because it does have like that very much a retro 60s sort of film where, it's like a lot of the 60s furniture, the curves and that sort of stuff that was made to look modern.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all that sort of styling. The puzzles are not super easy, but not really taxing as well. It's an enjoyable sort of thing. The game's got a lot of humour in it as well. There's a massive map to have a go at as well. It's kind of like a bit like a game version of a sci-fi version of Shadow Complex in terms of the way that it looks. That sort of like side-on 2.5D kind of game. So yeah, well worth a look, especially if you've got Game Pass, because it's for free. Yeah,
because obviously if you're not too keen on it, you can just delete it and move on.
Exactly.
So you're not losing out, are you? That's the greatest thing about Game Pass. You're not pressured into any game to buy.
No. And the other thing as well is if you've got a PlayStation, this was, I think, given away with PlayStation Plus a couple of months ago. So you should already have it in your collection if you've got Plus.
If you're on the ball.
Yes. Yeah, Steve.
Because I think I missed out on one of the other ones, but hey-ho. It's the way it goes.
Yeah, you need to get your act together and get that PlayStation on more.
I should do.
Buy the season pass for Destiny on the PlayStation. That'll get you playing it more. So you could do 2 characters when you've run out of all of those, Prime Gambit engrams that you've been chasing all week. You could just go over to the other platform.
I've got to talk about that later. I've been hard at work with that, but yeah. Hey, so come on, tell me about. I just seen what you got next to talk about. I'm really intrigued about this.
Oh, Resident Evil 2.
By what's happened to you in the past, yeah.
Yeah, I've got it on Xbox One X and I've started the campaign.
You started again?
From scratch.
Honestly, I think, how far did you get? Because I think you can easily work on it pretty quickly.
Well, I've played it for about an hour and a half. Oh, no, sorry, less than that, about an hour. And where did I get to?
Probably past the demo part of it?
I'd got to the library.
Right.
Yeah, I'd got to the library.
And you now got to find the jackhammer.
Yes.
Amongst other things.
That's where I've got to. I've had the conversation with Claire saying, you better run because that's going to, it's dinner time sort of thing.
What you want to try and do is remember that do as much as you can before you get to the point with the helicopter crashing at the back of the police station. Because as soon as you turn the water on to go through the corridor where the helicopter's in the way.
Yeah, Mr. X turns up.
That's when he turns up to try and go everywhere that you need to go before you do that bit. I mean, it doesn't bother me. Mr. X doesn't bother me. I leave him and run around like a maniac and he wanders off.
Yeah. No, to be honest, it doesn't bother me either.
No.
I wanted him to show up so I can shoot his hat off.
Have you got the achievement then yet?
Well, no, because I haven't seen him yet.
Oh, okay.
But I won't be far off that.
That's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, it is. I got the one where you shove the flash grenade in the zombie's mouth and then you shoot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another one to do later on as well, which is if you check it out. I mean, sometimes it can be a bit of a spoiler with looking at the achievements.
Yeah.
But excuse me, there's one later on. I think it might be the sewers, somewhere around there. Or from that sort of point, that you got to kill one of the mini bosses first time round to get an achievement, and if you don't, then you will miss out on that achievement.
Right.
But I can tell you a bit later on when you get closer to that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't spoil it.
Yeah.
But are you finding it easier this time round, though?
Well, it's because basically I know where most of the stuff is up to where I've got to. Although some bits I'm thinking, what did I have to do here? And sometimes that can work against you rather than for you.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's not too hard.
Oh,
not
cool.
not to where I've got to. Although one or two bits I was thinking, oh God, you can play better than this. You did better on the PC.
Well, as I say, it's a great story to finish. Even if you say just do each first time round.
Yeah.
You know, it's well worth doing it.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, but no, I'm enjoying playing it again. But I've already started playing that today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had about an hour this morning on it after a big Tesco. So, I don't know why I got it again, but I did. There you go.
That's all right.
Yeah. It's quite generous on achievements.
Oh, it is, and there's actually a couple of little bits of other DLC, free bits of DLC you can download as well.
Yeah.
So if you check that out, I think you've got the old pixelated outfits from the original game.
Yeah.
And stuff like that they got. If you're a big fan of it, you'll appreciate it.
Yeah, and there's also the whatever biker outfit, I can't remember what it was called, but the character was originally going to be the star of that game. That's
right, yeah.
Yeah. But that's for Claire.
Yeah, you've got that to do as well, yeah? Remember, you've got to do both.
Yes, I know. Okay, so come on, let's talk Destiny.
So, I think I'm really enjoying. I mean, I do love this game, and you know that. I do say when things are wrong with it, but I'm really enjoying this DLC, especially because I do love Gambit.
Yeah.
And I've been thoroughly enjoying myself in The Reckoning.
Yeah.
I don't know, have you had a dig in there yet?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
I think because you're a little bit lower on light level.
I'm only 7 levels down.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
Because it's recommended 650 light level.
Yeah, I'm actually, the way my character is set out at the minute, I'm on 654.
Oh, so lower than you thought then?
Yeah, so it's a bit lower.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I think the gear you're getting, there's been a slight issue with the level it's getting in there at.
Yeah.
And there's going to be an update on Tuesday to sort these issues out.
I have to admit that the 640 light level stuff for the
ranking up for you, yeah,
the bounty thing. If you were quite high level, I only needed 2 bits, and then that got me to 640.
Oh, really? So it was pointless then?
So to be honest, after that it was pointless, which is why I've slowed down on the ranking up, because I just so quickly got there, and I was actually getting drops that were higher.
Blue.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, though, there was a little issue with some of the drops and the levels they've been coming at. Now, because if you'd hit 640, then if you got all those engrams to do the prime ones that are going to give you higher than what you are, you should pretty much get to 650 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And the same thing, even with Chris, I took him into the forge,
right?
And we did the first forge with him, so that was really cool. So he got the machine gun.
Well, I need to do the forge because I'm still got that one outstanding, and it being at the level I'm at now, it should be a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good fun, and I think we failed the first attempt, but we did it on the second attempt, and then went back in on another attempt to just grind some bits out.
Yeah.
So, but I do love the way this is working. We've got Zur coming later with some bounties and some story and quests to go with that. He
hasn't brought any bounties this time, though, has he?
It's not yet, no. It's not for another week or two.
Yeah, waiting for everybody to catch up.
Probably. And with the way that the Gambit Prime works, I really enjoy that. It's a much more high-intense game.
Yes.
And it's a quicker game as well compared to the other Gambit mode that we had originally.
Well, it can be. I was in a game, it lasted about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
for one game, because we kept nipping each other's side and then killing the other ones, healing the primeval.
Yeah. So what is really good is I do love the idea of this new armour that you get to play in Gambit.
Right.
So as I said last week, you've got 4 types of armour.
Yeah.
You've got the Reaper, the Collector, the Invader, and I can't think what the 4th one was now, top of my head. But anyway.
Yeah, but you get like the little medallions, don't you? Then you use that one and it sets you up as that for however long.
So
30 minutes or something.
No. So what you do is when you start doing the Gambit Prime with the start of the DLC, when you go and see him,
yeah,
you go to play your first game of Gambit Prime.
Yeah.
Then he gives you a mote collector.
Yes.
And you put your motes in. You put your motes into that to get the ones you have to use in the Reckoning. So when you're winning these tags in Gambit, I don't know if have you done much of Gambit Prime at all yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've seen those tags you can get.
Yes, I've got loads of them.
Yeah, so you put one of those into the mote collector to get this mote out, and then you go to the Reckoning and you put that mote into the collector, which allows you to then jump down into the cavern where the first part of which is tier 1 on the Reckoning.
So how do you put it in then?
So it's another, like you do in the normal standard game of Gambit.
Yeah.
When you collect the motes and you put them in that collector?
Yeah.
It's one of those. So you go in, what you do is you start off for the Reckoning, you come at this little staircase area, all sort of metal looking and that, and there's this like a little time vortex which you jump through, which takes you to the Reckoning.
Yeah.
And as you come into that, it's all very white and pristine and clean. And you'll see at the top there, you'll see the collector, which you see very familiar. So when you're all up there, you put your mote in the collector,
yeah.
And then you jump into the cavern to do the tier. And as long as you finish that tier, so you get 100%, you clean out all the ads,
yeah, and
then you clean up the big boss. Then you get transported back to where the collector is,
yeah, and
collect your RNG bit of loot.
Right. Okay.
So I've got, like, for example, at the moment, I'm one piece short of getting a full outfit. So you're gonna have all your armor. Your armor as its standard is, but it's gonna be for Gambit to use. So I've got quite a few bits and pieces there. Mm-hmm. Some of them you have to actually infuse, but there's some actual mini bounties where you can have, like, I had an Invader helmet drop, and that dropped to about 654 on its own. So it's really good. And I think once you go to the Reckoning, you can stay in it and just keep, if you've got enough of them there, you just use those motes.
Yeah.
Keep infusing them into it and use them in the collector. Also, one of the bounties will give you an upgraded collector.
Yeah.
So originally it was for green. So you can see it as a green collector at the moment, can't you? Mm-hmm. Well, the next one's a blue one, which you allow for tier 2, because tier 2's just started now. And I'm a bit too low for that. And then obviously a bit later we'll get tier 3, which will be probably purple.
Right.
So, yeah, it's... If you want to jump on if you do, because I'm always on it, if you want to jump on the Xbox and have a go,
yeah,
just give me a shout.
I'll probably be on tonight at some point.
Well, I will be as soon as this podcast is over.
Well, I'll have to edit it first.
Oh yeah. But if sometimes you do it the next day. But if you want to just jump on for an hour or so,
yeah,
before that, and we'll have a good go at it. It's really good. I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. And obviously there's some new exotics to come, and the Thorn Quest comes in about a week's time as well. So it's all good.
Yeah, okay. Anything else on gaming?
No, we can swiftly move on. All
right, in that case then we'll move on to movies, TV and streaming.
In quest of a better life.
All right, so bit of bad news to start off, for especially for any of us who were around in the 80s, in the fact that Jan Michael Vincent, who is best known for playing the daredevil pilot of Stringfellow Hawk back in the 1980s with the TV series Airwolf, has sadly passed away at the age of 74.
Mm.
So, shame. I mean, in terms of his career, he was nominated for Golden Globes in 1971 for the film Going Home Again, and again in 1984 for the miniseries The Winds of War. He also appeared with big stars like Charles Bronson in the film The Mechanic, and also Burt Reynolds in Hooper, and in a seminal surfing film Big Wednesday. So, he's had a few good films under him in his career as well, although I think after Airwolf he kind of was a little bit harder to find anywhere, really, wasn't it? Probably set him up for life with that series, but who knows?
Yes, it was okay as a series. I was more of a Blue Thunder fan myself.
Oh, I was definitely Airwolf. Definitely Airwolf.
Because they ripped Blue Thunder off, so it was. I think Blue Thunder came first, but there you go.
Didn't that Blue Thunder have Ben Parker?
It was Roy Schneider was the pilot.
Oh, was it?
Mm.
I thought at some point there was him who was on the Rockford Files was on that as well, wasn't he?
I can't remember now. I remember there was, I think, is it Malcolm McDowell was in it as well?
Right.
And he was sort of the villain of the piece in the film. But but it's a real shame. I mean, we had another death as well, didn't we?
Who was that?
Luke Perry from 90210.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that happened last week, didn't it? Or was it earlier this week?
I don't know. It just seemed very close together, those two.
Yeah. Such a shame as well. I mean, you used to like him in that.
Yeah, because he had a stroke and then it all went quiet and then suddenly he didn't, couldn't get him back. So.
Well, how old was he? He was about 54, wasn't he? Something like
that. No,
52.
I think he was a bit more than that, maybe. I might be wrong.
I don't think he was, I think he was... let me just have a look.
Say there was... it was like... There was some interviews with people saying about it and they were really cut up. What's it say? It's very quiet.
It's very typical, isn't it? It's... every time you looked at Luke Perry before... Yeah, he was 52.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a bit younger than me.
Yeah, sort of like in between us. That's sobering thought.
Yeah. And shall I make... I know you want to... there's something news. I just want to have a little talk about that. So I don't want to say too much because I've just been watching it in the news and I don't really want to say too much of my thoughts, but I've been watching that Michael Jackson documentary.
Okay.
And I've only watched the first 2 hours of the two-parter. But it has caused a bit of a stir, rightly so.
Yeah.
Whether what's right or what isn't right, that's the only way I'm going to play it out.
Mm.
But it's got to the point where the guys that make Simpsons have dropped the Michael Jackson episode and pulled it from their schedule.
Yeah.
And... not in the UK, it's just been more around the world that they've been stopped playing Michael Jackson songs. And I just can't get my head around it, to be honest. It's maybe something that should have been left alone because he's passed away now for 10 years. And, why drag all this up now?
Well, where is it coming from? But to be honest, just because, if he had offended, so I haven't seen the programme, to be honest, but I've seen other programmes about it.
Yeah.
If he is an offender... then, he has caused harm to children. And, rightly or wrongly, I think that for the victims themselves, that needs to be recognised.
Oh, yeah, that's it. But it's just...
But it's posthumous, isn't it, really?
I know, but it is... Don't have your dinner at the same time when they're talking about it. Honestly, it's just mind-numbing, to be honest. And even the missus was a jaw sort of hit the floor with what was being talked about.
Yeah,
that's all I really want to say about it. It's just I will watch the second part just to finish it off.
I have to admit, I want to watch it, but I've just not got round to it yet. But I'm sure it'll be on 4 or... Is it on 4 or is it on the Beeb? Or which channel is it on?
I think it was Channel 4 or E4.
Right, okay.
So it's... I mean, I loved his music and I followed it throughout his career. There's never been an artist like him since, and never will be anyone like him ever again regarding his music, because he was the king of pop. That was what he was termed for. He was basically that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like all of his music, but there was a lot of the ones I really liked. I mean, we had a bit of a chat this afternoon on the questions page, or part of your questions for the show, about the revelation that I don't like Elvis. I don't like him. Music's completely subjective.
Oh, it is.
But one or two people were like, "What?" Craig and Nikki, I'm looking at you guys.
So, all right. So, if you say you don't like Elvis, right?
Yeah, but I also don't like
the Beatles.
No, I like the Beatles.
So people say you're either a Beatles man or an Elvis man. So you're a Beatles man.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
Yeah, but I don't like what do you call him? Prince. Can't stand Prince. Really, really hate Prince. But I completely respect that other people do, but I just don't like it. Don't like him. I don't like his music.
Well, I say music is a personal thing anyway.
I would say, to be honest, music is probably more subjective than art. I mean, when I say art, I mean like painting and that sort of stuff. I know that music is art. I'm not saying it's not. What I'm saying is, I think as a form of art, I think it's more subjective than other forms. What do you think? Well,
it can be as objective. I mean, someone else that passed away this week was the lead singer to Prodigy.
Yeah,
and he unfortunately committed suicide.
Yeah,
you know, that's your three in about a week, isn't it? Is that the way it goes?
Yeah, and I was talking to somebody I work with, and she was telling me, "Oh, I've had a drink with him." And she didn't even know it was him.
Oh, really?
Really, because evidently it was at a festival. And what she told me was that, she was sat down talking to this bloke, and she just happened to turn around and said, "Have you been wearing makeup?" And he said, "Well, yeah, I've just been on stage." And that was when she realised who it was.
Didn't he go, "I'm a twisted fire starter"?
No, evidently not. And evidently he was completely different to his persona.
He's a normal guy. I mean, when you look at him on stage, you think he's some sort of maniac, don't you?
Yeah, maniac, druggy,
exactly.
Whatever.
Even my missus said, "Oh, has he died?" "Oh, that was drugs then." I said, "Well, no, not necessarily. Don't be so close eyes on it,
But that was the look that he chose.
Yeah, exactly. And he was great. I really enjoyed Prodigy.
Well, I mean, let's face it. Wipeout wouldn't have been Wipeout without Firestarter, would it?
No, Again, I say music is one man's enjoyment, and someone else would want to switch it off straight away.
Yeah, one man's enjoyment, another man's pain.
Yeah. Whether you like death metal, heavy metal, pop, jazz, soul, whatever it's going to be,
Yeah, exactly.
Or
I mean,
classical
some
even.
people actually like opera, and in other parts of the world, it's used as a form of torture.
Yeah, I actually, there's a couple of operatic pieces I actually like, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of favourites.
And I think as well, the other thing about music is your tastes do change over time.
Yeah, they probably do. Or there's one band you might have hated, but then suddenly it seems to click and you enjoy their music for whatever reason.
I mean, that was a perfect example for me. I used to hate them the first time round. Used to be, they're a lot of rubbish, blooming boy band or whatever, but now they're one of my favourites.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this year's concert.
Yeah, but, it's like, also, I quite like a bit of Tom Jones now. I like the classic sort of Tom Jones.
Well, it's funny because
stuff.
Some of these guys now, they've sort of, what's the word used? They've suddenly become hip again, or cool, or whatever you want to call it.
It's like a cult following them, isn't it, really?
It is, whether it's like, would have been Frank Sinatra, for example, that obviously he's not with us anymore. these other sort of, because a lot of the bands and singers we like, they're their favourites as much as anyone else's, and then they get their influences off of them as well.
Well, I mean, look at, Frank Sinatra with his connections to the mafia.
Yeah.
Supposedly. It's so... Just because someone's famous doesn't stop them doing stuff that's wrong.
Oh, no, not at all.
In a matter of fact, it might be an enabler. Think of Jimmy Savile.
That's another story. Anyway, do you want to talk about your other bit of news?
Yeah, so Avengers Endgame. Evidently, the directors Anthony and Joe Russo have announced that they have completed their cut of the Avengers Endgame. So this is the fourth movie in the Avengers series. Mm-hmm. And the Russo brothers have said that evidently Disney and Marvel were prepared to release the Endgame movie at whatever runtime was necessary, even if the extended length could limit showtimes and possibly decrease the film's immediate box office potential. Now, that is the type of thing I like to hear. Because that means that they're releasing it as while it's still to make money, but they're releasing it as a film because they know that's fan support. Because it means that the film will tell the story that is needed to be told in whatever time it takes. And the release date for Endgame is the 26th of April, so only 6 weeks away.
Yeah. Cool.
Can't wait. I'm not so sure about Captain Marvel when I'm going to get to see it. It might even be the first Avengers movie in God knows how long. I actually have to watch on Blu-ray first. But that's more because my friend, who I always go to the cinema with, his children want to go and see it, so it's sort of like he has to take them.
That's all right.
So can't you just get your missus to take him? He said, no, evidently not.
It's the MCU now is, it's maybe coming to an end, isn't it? In a way.
I think it'll be coming to a reset. Because I'll tell you what has gone very, very quiet. Do you remember a year or two ago, female Thor, female Iron Man, all of that?
Don't go there, because we've had another few reboots as females, and I don't want to talk about that.
I just don't think that these reboots. I think that they're actually quite insulting to the people, to the whatever it's been rebooted to, because it's sort of like, oh well, it has been, but we'll let you be this. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like it feels a bit patronising. We'll let you have this one. Pat on the head. Go away. We've done our, let's just be honest. Let's just have what they're supposed to be. Anyway. Yeah. Right, let's do cinema releases. Do you want to do those, Steve?
I just wanted to quickly mention something else.
Oh, go on.
You haven't mentioned it, and as we're quite into it, the news this week has come that Arrow, the TV show, is coming to an end.
Yes,
and it's gonna be a shorter season next season as well.
Yeah.
Now I don't know the ways and reasons why. I don't think, or I'm not too sure that there's going to be like a separate universe where they're all going to be thrown into the mix. I'm not quite sure.
Right.
With the Arrowverse, as they call it, there's going to be, with this next season, there will be another crossover.
Yeah.
But it's a shame it's going. To be honest, if Supergirl went, I wouldn't miss it. But Arrow, I do enjoy, and listening to some of the reactions from members of the cast saying it's a shame. Because I think, if they all stay or they all go because of how that all works.
Yeah. I must admit, in terms of the crossover, this last time, one of the characters did say, well, this seems to be an annual event now.
I haven't watched the crossover yet. So.
Watch out for that line, because that is quite amusing when they say it.
But there is some other CW shows that are going to be in this universe.
Right.
So we'll see how they progress and move on from there. Maybe one of those will take its place.
It'd be quite good if they could do a Batman TV series again.
Well, there's going to be I think, is it Batgirl they're going to be doing or something, apparently, I've read.
Right, okay.
Which should be interesting. And also we got, there's if it's rumours or more confirmed now, that we're going to see some more Constantine.
Okay.
I know you're a bit sour on Legends.
I just think Legends is a complete it's legendary rubbish now.
I know, but I have watched probably more episodes than you now, I think, on that one.
What, I've watched all of the episodes?
Oh, you have you? You still watching
yeah,
them?
I've been watching it every week. I
Okay.
just think it's sort of like trash since they've started doing the fairy tale stuff.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
It has got, you can't admit it hasn't, it's gone down in quality.
It's a bit more of an odd one now, but I have chuckled at some of them. Not all of them, but
I'm not saying it's not funny bits in. I'm just saying,
yeah.
I think that it's, in comparison to what it was when it started, not a shadow of itself.
Yeah, I think I'm at episode where they were looking for one of the past characters from the villain, if you remember his daughter. Not much about there.
Okay.
So, anyway, do you want to do cinema releases, yeah?
Yeah, you do that, and I'll do the Blu-ray.
Okay, so what we have got Ben is Black. We have The Prodigy, which is nothing to do with
It's
the
not
band.
Ben is Black, it's Ben is Back.
Oh, sorry. My God.
That sounded like you were going to do it a Lethal Weapon, but he's Blick.
Yeah, anyways. So Ben is back. We have The Prodigy, which has nothing to do with Firestarter. Which is
it's a horror, isn't it?
It is, yeah. What Men Want. We have Under the Silver Lake, The Vanishing Girl, and the only one I know about at the moment is Fisherman's Friends.
Yeah, it's a movie about the sweets, isn't it?
No, it's I can't stand those sweets; they're disgusting. But anyway, but the film doesn't look too bad, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, and I've forgotten the name of the guy because I really like him. It was on what's his name?
Did he play in Sherlock?
James Purefoy.
Okay.
Yeah, I like him as an actor.
And this is like another version of one of those other. What was the one with the brass band movie? Do you remember that? And it won quite a lot of awards when it came out back in the 80s.
Yes, I know the one that you made
with Postlethwaite in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I can see the lead actor on that. I can see his face.
So
clear
in a
as
way, it's very similar. But this is about like a bunch of fishermen down in Cornwall that have a sing song, and these guys put them up on a record deal, don't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, probably get to see that when it comes out on Sky at the point. But
probably.
Yeah. Oh, actually, just before we go to Blu-ray, my stepdaughter's text me because she's they've got this cinema pass, and there's a special one night viewing of something, and Missy said, "Well, have a look at this because Jasmine's just said about you going to see this." I went, "Oh, that?" Yes, yeah, I'll see. I saw that on VHS because it was banned at one point. But she said, if you're going to go and see it in the cinema, I'd gladly go. And that's Clockwork Orange.
Oh God, yeah.
Which was filmed a lot of it was filmed at Brunel University, by the way.
Right.
Because I used to work there a lot, and I've seen all the bits and scenes, seen where they filmed it. But yeah, that's by the way. Anyway, I'm rambling on again.
I do have to admit, me and my friends, we went to see Clockwork Orange, and we walked out of the film. We just got so bored with it.
Oh, really? Oh,
it was back in the 90s when it had been de-banned. We thought, we've got to go and see this.
But it's because it's old and it's de-banned, you think you're going to see something outrageously what it is.
Yeah, and I got halfway through it. I thought, I think we'd rather just go to the club and have a dance and, chat up some lasses.
It's not a bad film, actually. I quite like it.
Sort of. It has a very definite point. The irony of it is, though, about 6 months later, we were sat talking, and we said, do you know what? I wish we hadn't left watching A Clockwork Orange because I want to see how it finished. Because obviously it had been banned at that point and just brought back to the cinema, so we'd never seen it. And I've since have seen it, but my friends were all saying, we should have stayed and stuck it out because you got to that awkward bit where it was the rape scene and all of that. Do you know what I mean? Just before he got captured, I think then he gets the reconditioning and stuff like that. But we were just sort of like, can't be arsed with this. Come on, let's go. We'll go to the nightclub and see if we can pick anyone up. The only person I picked up was my mates when we left. And I took them home to go to sleep. So, I don't know. Those were the days. Young, daft, and had no responsibility. Okay, should we go on to Blu-ray?
Yeah.
All right. Blu-rays and DVD releases this week. We have Candyman, Farewell to Flesh on Blu-ray. That one for you?
Not too sure. Actually, yes, I do like the original Candyman, by the way.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, quite a good 80s horror, the original one.
Okay, so another one for you then maybe is Cannibal Terror.
I haven't seen that one in the donkey's years.
No. One that I quite like is TV series. I like it, and I've been watching it on Netflix. Is Cuckoo? You watch that one?
No, I'm not too sure if I have actually.
You want to watch that on Netflix? It's basically it's a situation comedy about a family. The daughter comes back from holiday, married to a guy called Cuckoo. Even though they called it Cuckoo. Cuckoo doesn't stay around for the whole other thing. But then his son turns up on season 2. But it's well worth a watch. It's got, I've forgotten what his name is. You know, the really tall bloke off, The Inbetweeners, who's a teacher. Him. Yeah. Forgotten what he's called. But he's on it and he's absolutely brilliant. Really, he's the main star of it, although I think he wasn't supposed to be at first. You know, I think that they reinvented it a little bit in season 2, and since season 2 it's had a much more stable sort of storyline. But it's just really daft fun of a, you know, jokey movie, TV series. Yeah. Well worth watching. And it's got Ross's second wife, you know, English Emily of Friends. She's his wife on it.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool.
And one of the actors on season 2, who's like Cuckoo's son, was one of them off the Vampire Diaries or whatever. So Twilight, rather. I think he was on. So yeah, few people on there. Also, on the latest series, Andy McDowell was on as well as his sister. So yeah, quite a few names have appeared on it over the time. Next one is Doctor Who, the collection season 18 limited edition box set. Another one for you as well is possibly The Grinch, the 2018 version. That's on Blu-ray, 3D Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, and DVD. And there was another one I was going to say, Overlord.
Yeah, not too much. Not too much there.
No, it's not a fantastic week. Like I think the best one is Cuckoo. What is it with TV series at the moment only releasing them on DVD?
Yeah.
That annoys the hell out of me. It's like I can't get the Orville on Blu-ray because they haven't released it. It's only on DVD. Why do I want to watch DVD quality? I don't.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely stupid. But there you go. So, do you want to do the charts?
Okay. So, from 1 down to 5, we got First Man. Staying at 4, we got Venom. Still at 3, A Star Is Born. And in at 2, we got Hunter Killer. And number 1, of course, this week is Halloween. Completely
the wrong time of year for that to be number 1.
Yeah, I know. It's only the Americans got it well earlier than us, but you know, I actually haven't sat down and watched it yet, to be honest. But I haven't had the chance since I picked it up because I've been on call. But I will do. Hopefully, watch it before next week.
Yeah, I have to admit,
I have watched. I've watched all the extras, by the way, so I've already watched those.
Yeah,
but yeah, I look forward to watching it.
I think it's really good that you know, it's quite amazing that Venom has stayed in the charts for so long because it's on 4 weeks.
Well, films do come and go very quickly in the chart normally, and it's just the odd one or two that will hang around for a bit.
Yeah, but I'm surprised at Venom because it wasn't a fantastic movie.
Excuse me.
So that's what I mean, because it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think your first one, we have both watched this completely separately of knowledge of each other until you tweeted about it.
Well, that's it, because it's really weird, because I remember seeing the trailer for it a little while ago.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay. And then I saw your tweet saying that you texted and said you just binged it. And I didn't twig to realise what it was. Oh, of course, it's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And so I sat down with the missus and
Should we say what it is first? Because we haven't said it.
Go on, I'll let you say
So the series is the latest Ricky Gervais series, which is called Afterlife.
Yes, not to watch with your mother. Don't watch them. I know. I was surprised my missus because she can be a little bit finicky sometimes over language, but actually it was okay. But I think it's because it was Ricky Gervais and the storyline that's how it worked, because he was annoyed with life after losing his wife to a battle to cancer.
Yeah,
and he hated everything about life. Obviously, trying to commit suicide, and he didn't care anymore. But like other stuff he's done in the past, it works very well. And even though you have humour in it, it's a bit black humour sometimes.
Oh, it's incredibly black humour at times. And it's also quite sort of like poking fun at himself almost as well, isn't it?
Well, when you see, obviously, we don't spoil things here, do we, Haydn? So we will just be brief
allegedly
about this.
We do, although I would argue that we don't, because
well, actually, this is more pointed at you than me. But
yeah,
anyway.
I know. But this is what I don't get. I got grief today because of allegedly releasing too much information about Moon. I described the first 20 minutes, and you guessed the end. And I get it in the neck. I don't get that.
Anyhow, so obviously the base of this story is that his life's great. He's got a wife. He's got his dog. Great house, and she loses her battle in cancer.
Yeah,
and he's on his own, and he works for a local newspaper.
And to be fair, all of this happens before the series starts, so we're not spoiling anything here.
No. And what it's great is that his wife had recorded some video for him to watch.
That reminded me very much of the film My Life with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, you're right there. And what's great about this with Ricky Gervais is he's the cast in this. A lot of them have all been in all his other shows.
Yeah,
and they work so well together.
Yeah, they do.
And even though some of them isn't in it as long as others, I mean, for example, obviously he goes to visit his dad in an old people's home, which just reminded me of one of his other shows when he was working he was sitting there with an old people's home. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Which I can't think off the top of my head what it was called, but I'm sure you can look it up in a sec. But his dad was played by David Bradley.
It was called Derek.
Thank you. That's it. So David Bradley, if you not know who he was in the Harry Potter movie.
As the caretaker.
Yeah. Also, he was in Hot Fuzz, off memory.
No, he was on World's End.
World's End, sorry. And of course, he played William Hartnell was Doctor Who.
Yes, he did.
As well.
Yeah. In the most recent version of the William Hartnell Doctor Who.
Yeah, which is it's a
documentary about William Hartnell.
Yeah. It's a documentary drama, I think, isn't it? In
a docudrama.
Yeah,
but
it's well worth watching if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, but Kerry Godalman was his wife, wasn't she? She was in Derek.
Yes.
And then the Scottish actress who was in Extras, I've forgotten what she was called.
Ashley Jensen.
She played
the dad's nurse
as well,
and she is really good because in Extras, obviously, she really her character was very fond of Ricky Gervais's character, and you know they do bounce off each other as comically, if you know what I mean, and the way they sort of give their lines.
I think they gel really, really well together.
Yeah, and there was someone else in it, actually. When we're saying this, it's not giving anything away, but there's a girl that he takes out for a meal.
Yeah, I can't remember who she was.
Well, she played the...
she was...
In she played the leader of Torchwood in Doctor Who.
Yes.
Do you remember when David Tennant was
also
in the role?
Wasn't she Dirty Den's second wife on EastEnders?
Possibly, and I think she may have even been in Only Fools and Horses as well.
Yeah.
When she was much younger. But yeah, so there was a lot of people in it that you'd seen in other shows he's done. It seemed very short. They were 25 minutes long, 20 minutes long. There's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, was it also Diane Wardman as well, wasn't there? She does a lot of comedy.
Yes.
She was also on David Brent, Life on the Road, as well. That was a good laugh of a movie. I want to watch that again, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah. So basically, you're going to and you're going to see how Tony, which is Ricky Gervais's character, how he copes with losing his wife. Which
isn't very well in some parts.
Oh, but yeah, if you watch the trailer, you'll see what we mean by it. If you just check the trailer out on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, this is very typical sort of like Ricky Gervais kind of style. So if you don't like him, you're not going to like it. But I think that there was a kind of beauty to it. There was, I think Ricky Gervais's character was mean and vulnerable at the same time. In a way that he portrayed the character, I think he did incredibly well doing that.
I understand how he felt and how he was treating people, because I think even you would admit that you felt that anger, but not necessarily for the same reason, but you felt that sort of attitude towards people like he did. He does it on a daily basis, where you or I might have that in an hour or two, either walking down a high street or whatever it would be. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like it's, 18 months since I lost my dad. I know that's not my partner, my wife, but, it's still someone very, very close to us. And, you go around, you can be angry, and it's like, how dare the world still continue when your world has just stopped, sort of thing.
Actually, I might even... I've got extras on DVD.
Yeah, so have I.
I might even go back to that, because that's class.
Yeah, especially the Patrick Stewart bit. And of course I saw everything.
and obviously David Bowie as well.
No, for me it was a Patrick Stewart about his, saying
being
about...
naked.
Yeah. And of course I saw everything. We've got to name the show that this time, haven't we?
Oh, actually, we could have a line from Afterlife, but we wouldn't be able to put it on the screen.
Probably not. I'll tell you someone else who's on there as well. Penelope Wilton. She was Sean's mother on Shaun of the Dead.
And even more importantly, she was Harriet Jones in Doctor Who, the president, the Prime Minister.
Yes, she was. I would say arguably that more importantly, she was Sean's mother on Shaun of the Dead, to be fair.
No, I don't. I think she had more screen time in Doctor Who, to be honest, but there you go. That's by the by. But yeah, she's a great actress. She's done a lot over the years.
Yeah.
Even going back into some sitcoms in the, I think even in the 80s, she did something there.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time. But
so she's been going since 72, bless her.
Yeah. There's also Paul Kay as well, who was played Dennis Pennis, didn't he, years ago?
Yeah, I said to the missus, I said, do you remember Dennis Pennis? She went, no. I said, okay, we'll stop it there. Because that character was, Dennis Pennis was a bit of an odd character at the best of times.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been on a lot of stuff as well, Game of Thrones as well.
Yeah.
He's carved himself a good career, even though he's sort of like really weird.
And there's another guy in it. I'll mention it off air to you, because I'll talk about it. I don't, because it's another character in the story.
Okay.
But yeah, no. If you like his sort of humour, this is worth a watch. If you've got about 2.5 hours spare or 2 hours spare,
yeah, you
can just cane the whole series.
Well, that's exactly what I did from first episode to last. I caned all 6 episodes all in one go.
Oh, we did it last night. Whenever I tweeted, I started, and that was it. From then on, we just went all through them.
Yeah, I thought that was so good. I've got to watch this next one, and then before I'd realised it, I was on the last one.
Yeah,
it's just and the time flew as well. Really enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again. I hope they do a season 2.
I don't know where they would take it though.
Well, we can't say because that would spoil it.
No, but do you know what I mean? Sometimes some of these shows are best left just cut and finished.
Yeah.
Where something like Derek, that was quite ongoing for a while, and I'd like to go and see that. Actually, I need to see that again.
Well, that's on Netflix.
It's still on Netflix. Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So definitely worth a watch is Derek as well.
Yeah, class. Okay. So, due to the fact that the 80s horror documentary got that second trailer I spoke about earlier in the beginning of the show, I sat down very late one night, or maybe it depends how you call it, or early morning. I sat and watched Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen that film properly from start to finish for a few years now. But I think it holds up as horror movies go. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I won't give away spoilers. Even though this film was from 1984, and there's been a reboot. But this starred Heather Langenkamp and Johnny Depp. And obviously Robert Englund, who played Freddy, the child killer.
Yeah. But
this monstrous spirit of a slain janitor seeks revenge by invading the dreams of teenagers whose parents were responsible for his ultimate death. And great movie. I don't think that's your cup of tea, is it?
No, don't think so.
Of course, yeah. You and horror don't go.
No, well, I have seen A Nightmare on Elm Street years and years and years ago, but I'm not bothered about ever seeing it again. But, it's like everything else. It's what, everybody likes different things, and it's just not for me. It's horror.
Yeah, so I went on to Sky. I just downloaded a few last night to go through. Because I'm in that sort of vein at the moment.
Yeah.
No pun intended there, but yeah. Anyway, so...
But it would have been better if it would have been about vampires, if it had been on another vein.
Oh, yeah, even better, yeah. Anyhow, so do you want to talk about...
Well, okay, because considering that I've said I don't like horror, both of my other two films have horror in the title.
Yeah, but I say Little Shop of Horrors isn't... it was based on a musical anyway.
It is. Well, it is a musical.
And it's sort of more probably sci-fi-ish, I think.
Yeah, and basically I think it's a variation of Dave the Triffids, really, isn't it? But yeah, so this is a film starring Rick Moranis and Steve Martin, but John Candy's also in it as well. There's, other members of the cast, obviously, than that. And basically the story is Seymour is in love with Audrey, who he works with in a struggling plant shop. One day Seymour brings in a plant that he has somehow come to own following a strange total eclipse of the moon. And he has dubbed the plant Audrey 2. His boss sees it's an unusual plant and says, put it in the window. And as soon as he does, somebody walks through the door, says, about that strange plant in the window, cue the music. And the story goes on from there.
I could start singing the songs because I know them all, and I've got the album here. It's actually sitting beside me, but it's got some of the vinyl under the desk.
Well, if you remember, I mentioned about a party when I was very, very drunk, singing out "Suddenly Seymour" with my then girlfriend at the top of my lungs.
Yeah, yes, sir.
On the first time we ever met her dad. No wonder that relationship was doomed.
Was she on Skid Row then, was she? Eh?
Well, I had to take it to a dentist.
Yeah.
That is a classic song.
You mustn't forget Bill Murray in it as well.
Oh, God, yeah, where he's like the sadomasochist sort of...
But do you remember what his name is in the film? Because I don't think it's really said too much.
No, I don't remember.
But it's called Arthur Denton.
Right.
That's a bit odd, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Very close to Arthur Dent.
It is. Very close.
Whether that's deliberate or not, I don't know. But
it might just be coincidence, so...
Oh, maybe, yeah.
But, no, my favourite song in it, though, is Steve Martin's one. Where,
yeah, because he's a bit of a bully.
Yeah, he's a dentist and he gets off on causing things pain. and Steve Martin being Steve Martin, he's just absolutely superb.
Yeah, is there much on the disc? It's one disc, I presume, and Not much extras on it?
I don't know, to be quite honest, because I just watched a movie. I didn't explore any extras. I'll let you know.
Yeah, sometimes when it's a great film that you really enjoy, I do love to see some meat on the bone there to also have a little pick at as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a great movie. I used to have it years and years and years ago on video. And that's exact same.
Yeah, I had it on VHS as well. I must admit, it was one of the ones I had.
Yeah, well, that same ex-girlfriend had mentioned nicked off with my video copy of it when we departed. But yeah, so it's just such a classic movie. It really is. Yeah. And Rick Moranis is great in it. They're all great in it. They all take the part. It's just such a laugh of a movie. Really enjoyed it. Superb. Really glad I've got it in my collection, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it may well even be on Netflix, actually.
I think this is one, if you like it, though, you'd want to keep it in your collection, isn't it?
But if you're hearing us and you've never seen it and you want to give it a look, I just got a sneaky feeling that it's on. I'll have a little look, actually, if it's on Netflix. And it's a musical as well, so...
Yeah, and the songs are great in it. Absolutely great. It's well worth a listen.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it was on there at some point, I must admit. But it may well have gone by now.
I don't think that there is a lot on it, by the way. I think it's just the movie and the trailer, if I remember rightly. But to be honest, you want to watch it more for the singing, don't you?
Oh yeah, no. It's nice to see some of that if there is anything out there.
Yeah,
with it, but it's such a good movie.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
And what do you think of Sleepy Hollow? Have you seen it before? That
I love Sleepy Hollow. Yeah, I've seen it a few times. So it's set in 1799. And Johnny Depp stars in this. It's based on the Washington Irving classic tale, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And Johnny Depp plays Constable Ichabod Crane, who is sent to the hamlet of Sleepy Hollow, which has been plagued by a number of brutal decapitations. It's a light horror. It turns into a paranormal story of Constable Crane, assisted by Katrina Cantasset, who is played by Christina Ricci, who was on The Addams Family. Was it Wednesday or Friday? I can never remember which day of the week. Wednesday, that's it.
Wednesday.
To basically pursue the killer. There's great cast members. There is Michael Gambon, who plays Baltus Cantassel.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Jones as a town priest. There's Caspar Van Dien, as in Starship Troopers. Ian McDermott, as in The Emperor. Michael Gough, who was Alfred from Michael Keaton's Batman. Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman. Christopher Lee as well. And there's also Ed Rooney from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
And don't forget Miranda Richardson.
Oh, yes, as well.
From back in the Blackadder days.
Yes. Who's Queen?
Yeah. But it is a very, very dark movie.
Isn't it Tim Burton? No. I studied the style of Tim Burton. If it's not Tim Burton,
it is. No, it is Tim Burton. Yeah. I'm just looking.
Yeah, it's his style.
I'm a big fan of his early movies. So you got Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, and actually another good one if you've not seen it is From Hell. Yes, because I do love the story regarding Jack the Ripper. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of conspiracy theories regarding Jack the Ripper, but yeah, From Hell's not a bad movie. Mm. That was 2001. Blimey, it's that long ago.
Oh, that is a long time ago.
Yeah, Johnny Depp's not the same actor he was all those years ago now, is he?
No, definitely not. I must admit I'm very, very tempted by Beetlejuice on Blu-ray because I love Michael Keaton. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, no, and obviously that movie, there's been so much talk now of a sequel. It's like an ongoing conspiracy theory of its own.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice. There's been rumours from Who was mentioned? I've forgotten her name now. Who was the daughter?
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Yeah. She would maybe let the cat out of the bag at some point. But it'd be great if we can see that. But yeah, Tim Burton's his style of movies, they're really good.
Yeah. And a matter of fact, I'm just going to order it.
Which version? I mean, I think it's going to be about £9 if you're lucky, isn't it?
8.
Amazon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great movie. Absolutely fantastic. Love it.
And you can also start singing the Banana Song. Which we're not going to do now.
No, definitely not. But Sleepy Hollow, really enjoyed the film. I mean, it's not really scary. It's classified as like a horror, but it's more like supernatural drama than anything else, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
But well worth a watch, definitely. And I think that, to be honest, Johnny Depp does play a good part. Yeah. Definitely worth a watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But a great cast.
Actually, Christina Ricca, was I first saw her? What was she in? Because it was that movie with who's that disgraced movie star now that on Netflix a little while ago?
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah,
Kevin Spacey in space.
It was one of his movies actually that I really adore, and she was in it.
Yeah, but do you know Sleepy Hollow's 20 years old?
Yeah, it's quite.
Where's time
quite
going?
a thought. Well, we're getting older for starters.
Yeah, that's very true.
And it just works like that. I think that you suddenly realise that what it's doing. But yeah, no. I'm trying to. That film. I'm really trying to wreck my brain now. What it's called, because it won quite a few. I think it won quite a few awards. But never mind. I'm not going to. Probably someone might know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to warble on.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, to be honest.
There was a film that she was in, and it was with Kevin Spacey.
Sorry, who was in?
Christina Ricca, and it was about a guy who was going through his sort of the male menopause.
Right. Okay.
Really good movie. Anyway, do you want to move on?
Yeah. Have you got any more to talk about, or?
No, I'm all good.
One thing I do want to do a shout out about, though, is the Orville. Because the Orville's just completed a 2-parter. Its first one. And it was a fantastic story. Really enjoyed it. That series has a mild splattering of Family Guy humour, but with an awful lot of season 4 finesse of The Next Generation to it. Have you watched it?
I only started watching the first season, but I just couldn't get into it. It just at the time.
Seriously, reinvest the time to watch it because it is brilliant.
Yeah,
it's the second best sci-fi on at the moment.
Oh, you really think so?
Yeah, the best being Discovery. Because, oh my God, Discovery.
Don't say anything. I'm behind, but yeah, I know. I started watching an episode the other day, actually. I got pulled away because of something that was going on, but yeah, I know.
Just wait until you find out where they go.
No, don't tell me.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm just saying it's going to put the biggest smile on your face. You'll have to hold the top of your head on to make sure it doesn't fall off.
Well, I will try and catch up and I'll let you know. Because,
I bet you will, because I was beaming I'll tell you.
Will I wet myself?
Yes, you will. You will. It was one of those moments like the end of season 1 where the Enterprise turned up.
Yeah. Right. Okay, cool. I'm just going to mention that was about Christina Ricca, her name is, and Kevin Spacey. The movie I was on about was back in 1999.
Right.
And it's called American Beauty, and I really love it.
Yeah, American Beauty. Sorry, I was being thick there.
You with me now? That is such a good film.
I hadn't actually realised she was in that.
Well, she was the one in the bath with all the rose petals that obviously the film progresses and he sort of.
I don't think that was her.
Yeah, it is. I put money on it. If I had some. Actually, no, it's not. It's not. I just realised.
Right, so I've just won your money.
Yeah. No, because she... No, I'm... Anyway, moving on.
So
I'm poor now.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't her, because I remember she was...
No, she's very like her, though. Because she was the girl that was in it. She was actually in the American Pie movie. She was in those.
Right. Yeah.
Who I'm talking about. But anyway.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't her.
No, they're very, very close though. As you know,
as in the fact that they're female. That's about as close as they get. They were in a couple of movies together, though. To be fair.
Yeah. It's her name is Mania Souvray. That's it.
Yeah.
And she played Heather in American Pie.
Yeah. I
do love those movies actually. They're excellent. I don't know, they get a little box set of films as well. I sort of watched them over the years, and that's 1999 as well. Blimey.
I know. They, when that was first released, they were like the young kids in town, and now they're the middle-aged people.
But they are our age now, probably the same sort of age.
Yeah. Well, American Pie would have been like 19. I was 19.
So you're a bit of a fan of Stifler?
Oh yeah, coolest guy going.
Oh, because actually, I can't think which one it is when Stifler has that party. Just I'm rambling here, but when Stifler has that party at the beginning and he's trying to woo this girl,
yeah,
and someone's above of having to spend a penny, should we say?
Right.
And the two guys, one of the guys was the guy that played Sulu in the reboot of Star Trek.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Do you remember also from American Pie, the Shermanator? I've come from the future. What a dork.
And the guy, she says, really? Are you still going to pull this one on? But I mean, there's a TV show my wife's watching at the moment. I have to dig out what it's called.
It's not Grey's Anatomy.
No, it's not. It's on Netflix. And the dad in this sort of 20-minute, 30-minute show she's watching was actually she was Jim's dad in American Pie. You know, the guy with the big thick glasses.
Yeah, she was Jim's dad. Do you mean Jim's mum?
Sorry, Jim's mum. That's as bad as you with Xenomorph last week. Anyway, but no, I do like those movies. I've got a sort of soft spot for them still.
Yeah.
But I only went I think the last one, American Pie Reunion, was the last one they did. They did another one after that, which was just a sort of a American Pie tag name onto it. With I think there was a couple of movies there, maybe
wasn't
2 or 3,
it supposed to be the?
It was like Bandcamp, you know, where Michelle used to go. You know, Alison Hannigan, whatever her name is, the girl he sort of fell in love with in the end. But yeah, no, you have to watch those, but I think I'll have to dig them out and rewatch all of those. Yeah, very funny. Anyway, should we go back to what we should be doing?
Hang on a minute, though. You said about me with Xenomorph. Because I said Exomorph, didn't I?
I think, well, yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Because Xenomorph is the correct term.
Did you edit it out, though?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Oh, you
didn't?
didn't? Okay.
No. I edited out my mental breakdown halfway through it all. Where
that's going to be in the that's in the extras bit, isn't it?
What me going, I can't remember because I just had I don't know what happened last week. My mind went completely blank. Anyway, let's move on. So let's go to our listener questions.
John, what's happening to us?
All right, so listener question time, and as always, we have Mark who's kicking us off with, how patient are you when it comes to new releases? Do you feel any pressure to be playing the latest big games because of the show?
Yes and no. I was probably more so back in the day, but I think people can be a bit more forgiving these days because we're not backed by anyone. It costs money to buy these games.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I know entirely what you mean.
But you know, it's if you're going to get previews of games and stuff like that, that's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, but we never do.
No, we're not that. We're not so highly privileged.
So any game developers out there who want the game to be previewed or reviewed, let us know.
Absolutely.
At podcast at popculturegamers.co.uk. But yeah, I must admit, I think I do. Probably more than yourself.
Yeah. It's unfortunately, there's been a real big spate of games in the last 2 months or so.
Yeah, unusually for this time of year, because this was the time of year you could catch up on the other stuff.
Exactly. And even though we've been lucky with some of the Game Pass releases, which has helped, that may well help even more as games. Some of the games that we've not really mentioned a lot about, we'll probably mention again.
Yeah.
For an example, what about the latest... one of your favourite release of games, Just Cause.
Now on Game Pass.
Now Just Cause 4. How long's that been out?
2 months, 3 months, 3 months.
Yeah, and it's now on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I've actually downloaded it today. I did go and do that. So yeah, really weird.
Definitely. Won't be long until that'll be on PlayStation Plus about.
Probably, yeah.
So, okay, do you want to do the next one?
So the second question is, which game series / franchise next release are you most anticipating? And which would you most want to see disappear? Okay,
so as far as I'm concerned, the one I'm most anticipating is what the new Star Wars game's going to be whenever that turns up. Because I really want a good new Star Wars game to play.
Well, you'll be waiting for a long time, I feel.
That's what I worry about as well. But yeah, and the franchise, it's not so much that
one that needs a break.
Well, one that would not bother me in the slightest if it never existed again or had never existed is FIFA.
Well, you're not a football fan anyway, so
no,
to be honest...
No, and to be honest, I don't think there's been a good football game since Kickoff on the Commodore 64. Or the Amiga.
I totally disagree with you on that. So
that's your entitlement. You are entitled to totally disagree.
Anyway, so...
What about for yourself, Steve?
Well, do you know what? I was thinking about it the other day because I was looking at some vinyl game soundtracks, actually. And... they've just brought out a second album, so there's 2 of them for The Last of Us. So, that game, I loved playing that, and I did complete it. A very emotional game in places as well. So, I'm not even sure when that will be coming out. I don't think we've got a clue, but I am looking forward to it. Whether or not it's going to be a release on the next gen console, I don't know. But yeah, they're also... I think, even though we haven't got a clue when it's going to come out, I mean, it's more than a given now that there's a new Fable on the way.
There has to be.
So, well, it's being developed, isn't it? By not Turn 10, sorry. It's the guys that make Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, there's a couple there.
Well, that is Turn 10, isn't it?
No, it's Playground Games, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. And whether or not a franchise would like to see disappear, or maybe given a break, I don't know.
What about Call of Duty now they've gone down this stupid thing of getting rid of the campaign?
Well, you could do, but it's funny. I mean, obviously, as we said earlier, I've gone and downloaded the PlayStation Plus game.
Yeah.
But it has really, really... really taken its turn. I don't know how well people are playing it these days, and if there's a lot of people out there that still love the game. Even it's funny because one of my oldest boy texted me the other day and said, I've just got an Xbox, and he said, what do you recommend to play? He said, I really like those days when I was playing Call of Duty and Halo. I said, to be honest, both of those have gone a bit downhill of late. Do you know what I mean?
A lot downhill.
So I said to him, look, if you really want to play Halo, I said, pick up the Master Chief Edition if you want to go back and play that. I said, Call of Duty, I said, well, have a look. But I said, you might want to try Destiny.
I thought you already played Destiny.
No, this is my other son.
All right, okay.
I have 3 boys. Right. So this is my eldest. So he's added me on he's got his profile set up, yeah. I don't think he's played any games yet, so I'm going to have to give him a knock up to see what he's going to be playing. Mm. But yeah, no, I can't really think of something I'd like to see this. I can think of more that I'd like to see come back, to be honest. It's like I'd love to see BioShock reinvented.
Yeah.
And there was talk of that as well, you know.
I would love to see Dead Space come back, but is in Dead Space 1 and 2, not 3.
How about Lost Planet? How did you get on with those games back in the day?
I thought they were quite poor.
Because that was Capcom, wasn't it? So.
It was.
But yeah, no, it is. I'd like to see Silent Hill actually come back as well.
Yeah, that's a franchise that's gone away and not come back.
But yeah, okay.
Okay.
Facebook?
Yep. So, Alan Cochrane has said, did you own a ZX Spectrum or a Commodore 64, and which were your favourite games?
Well, I think that's going to be your question, because I actually had an Atari ST at one point.
Well, didn't you have anything before that?
I don't think I did. Oh, I did have something, but that was way old. We're talking when I was about 5 or 7 maybe, which was Pong, believe it or not. I had the original. But so what did you play on there? What were your favourite games on there?
I had loads, to be honest.
But they wouldn't stand up these days, would they?
No. The game I played the most was Elite.
Of course it was.
Yeah. But I also liked lots of other games. There was The Last Ninja, comes to mind. That was a isometric sort of view fighting adventure game. There was Psy Warrior, which was a platformer where you were like this guy who was hovering about on some sort of like hoverboard. I can't remember much about it now, but I used to love the game, although I was really, really poor at it. There was, there were so many. Spy vs. Spy, those games, they were quite good 2 players. Very, nice sort of like arty sort of style, with them very much sort of like comic based. But there were so many classic games on the Commodore. R-Type. Loved R-Type.
Yeah, I think I played different versions of that back in the day when they went to...
Oh, I've played probably about 5 or 6 versions of that game on different platforms, I mean. And I'm trying to remember, Paradroid, that was another classic game on that system. Yeah. In a matter of fact, the interesting story about that is that the guy who wrote it, when he finished the game, he realised he hadn't put any text in, and he had to get the Commodore 64 kernel manual out to find a little bit of memory that he could actually put the text into the game. And I think it was like a 2K of memory in the keyboard buffer or something that he'd ended up writing the information to. Which is quite fascinating. You don't get those problems nowadays. It's just so long ago since I've played a Commodore 64. I can't remember half of the games that were on there now.
Did they ever have stuff like Cannon Fodder?
I think those came a bit later, didn't they? Because that was more the 16-bit era rather than the 8-bit.
Excuse me.
But that's a long time ago.
I don't think you could play the dot games again anymore, could you? That sort of era. It's a bit too far gone, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember what I did used to play was, remember the old text adventures?
Yeah, I mean, I did have some books, actually, to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I know, it's... yeah, I think sometimes you can only go back so far with games, especially at that beginning era, do you know what I mean?
I think it depends on the game, very much, in the style of game that it is. I think, ironically, the games that age the best are the ones with the least in them. So, for example, I think playing something like The Saboteur, or The Last Ninja, or TNR Nog, or Pyjama Armor, because they're sort of like adventure kind of games, I think that they suffer now because of how much things have moved on. Whereas I think that your classic games like Defender, Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Arkanoid, those sorts of games, they're forever classics. Because because of just the way that they deliver what they deliver. It's that short time frame attention span. Do you know what I mean? It's I think that's where the appeal of them is.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to go do Nicky's?
Yeah, okay, so can you remember what was your first console and games? Sorry, say it again. Can you remember what was your first console and games where mine was Mega Drive and the Sonic, Auto Beast and Quackshot? Well, as I said earlier, I had a console, I think it was made by Binatone, and you had like a selection switch and you could play Pong, Breakout, maybe a couple of others, I can't remember what they were, but that was literally a couple of dots on a screen. So for you, I suppose, because you've nearly had every console under the sun.
I haven't. Believe it or not.
Did you have what I had with it, like the play Pong and that and Breakout?
Yes, but I had the Commodore version of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember.
Mine was an actual console. Believe it or not.
Yes, so was mine, and it actually had flappy paddles with it as well. Well, when I say paddles, it was a slider.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it was called, the Commodore console that I had, but it also lasted for about 6 hours and it overheated and melted. And I was absolutely gutted. And then after that, I got a Commodore 64, and then I got, then my Commodore 64, the power supply broke within a year. So it had to go back, and back in those days, you sent it away for a fix, and it wasn't like in a couple of weeks you get it back. It was several months later.
Yeah.
It was literally, I think it was about 3 months that it took them to repair it. So my parents thinking, he has to have a computer. I was like, can I have a Spectrum? Can I have a Spectrum? Can I have a Spectrum? They got me an MSX, which not that many people had heard of, and still probably haven't heard of, to be honest. After that, I went on, because I was doing computer studies at school, my mum and dad got me an Acorn Electron. And then after that, I started buying them myself. So I got a Commodore Amiga, then an Amiga 500 Plus, then an Amiga CD32, then an Amiga 1200. And then I went on to, I'm tempted to say not Dreamcast, Mega Drive.
Didn't you have the Master System before?
No, I had no Nintendo or Sega consoles before that.
Yeah, because I did have the Master System. I remember getting that. Right. I picked it up using tokens with Texaco Garage.
I see. It was before I was driving. I was in fourth year, I think, when the Mega Drive came out.
Because even with that system, I remember picking up like Mortal Kombat. Yeah. There was an Aliens game, even a Raiders game as well, and other bits and pieces.
No, I always remember talking to some people I was at school with in my art class. I can't remember the conversation, but I can remember where I was sat and talking about this awesome new game on this Master System that was called, Sonic the Hedgehog, and the amazing sort of computer flowchart patterns that were on the top of the console. I always remember having that conversation for all of the daft sort of things that you remember as a kid. But yeah, that was a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It was a Commodore Amiga 3000H console that I had, the first console I had. Yeah. And that had basically different variations of Pong, which included, like 2 paddles on your side, which I think they call football. And I think there was also an attachment for a light gun as well, if I remember rightly, or something like that. Yeah. But God, that was so long ago. There was one for light gun. There was Pong, which they called tennis. Tennis for 2, so you could do 2 players. And then a football one. And then Target was the other game, but I didn't have the light gun. Wow, that is a long, long time ago. I was a very small child. Oh, dear. That's a bit of reminiscing.
Anyway, do you do the last question?
Yep, okay. So, Craig Cole said, seems biographical films of music icons are the latest trend. Couldn't agree more at the moment because there's all sorts of people getting them. Which band or artist would you like to see happen? For me, the Specials, Terry Hall, would love that. But I would like it to be more true to fact and the spirit of the band than Bohemian Rhapsody was. Felt it was such a letdown. Can tell the living band members used it to rewrite history and maybe had too much influence regarding the tone. Because there was a lot of factual inaccuracies in terms of Bohemian Rhapsody. For a start off, Freddie Mercury wasn't the only one to go off and record his own album, because Brian May did, and as did Roger Taylor, before Freddie. Also, they weren't on that watershed moment of Band-Aid, the way that the movie depicted. And all of that they were about, them breaking up. They still managed to record 2 albums over that time period as well. So it was a little bit bonkum. But the argument that we got into in terms of, on the Facebook group about this is, I just pointed out, it's artistic license. They have rewrote history. But to be honest, if the film was made as it actually happened, it would probably be a bit of a boring movie. I mean, when you look at Titanic, you don't actually think, that there was, an English woman and Leonardo DiCaprio type character, bloody carrying on like that in the film, or in real life, because there wouldn't have been. It's just artistic license.
Yeah.
They have to make it interesting because otherwise people wouldn't come and see it. So they had to instill drama probably where it wasn't there. The thing is, there's so many documentaries about that movie. But anyway, what would you want to do?
Well, I'm actually keen on seeing Rocket Man, actually. Speaking about what's to come.
Yeah, but that is to come. What about what you're not aware of that you'd want to see?
Well, I don't know if I could. You can't really do another one now, but I did have I've got a lot of love for the Pistols, actually, and I mean the Sex Pistols, that is. And there's been a few documentaries and films over the time, including the Great Rock and Roll Spindle,
yeah,
and so on and so forth, which are great. And
the mockumentary about Spinal Tap.
Yeah, I've seen that as well, actually. But I think, trying to think of someone that's actually, it's got to be entertaining, first of all. That's very hard to do when it's bands. Sometimes when you're a band that's got a lot of press, depending on how that press, like the Pistols, for example, it made a good movie from that point of view. And even though you wouldn't have thought Queen would have pulled it off the way it did, to be honest, but they did. But I can't really think of any bands. Actually, tell a lie. I think there's probably been a documentary or two, but the Joy Division story and link it in with New Order would be pretty good. I'm sure there may well have been one that was done in the past, but that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But any other bands that are, well, say Joy Division and New Order are huge anyway. But I don't know. I have to think about that one. Is there any others that you'd like to see?
It's not something that I'm really that too fussed about. I love Bohemian Rhapsody, to be honest, more for the music, although I did think that they crafted a fictitious but highly emotive storyline.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't proper Freddie. There was a lot of the things where from documentaries or whatever, where you'd seen Freddie in certain outfits and that was all in there. And some people might read it as, Freddie, like a lot of negativity towards Freddie in terms of the inverted commas split up or whatever. I actually read it differently, that he was being manipulated, the way that they portrayed it.
Yeah.
Other groups though.
Just thinking about this, there's quite a few biopics that have been around. I mean, for example, La Bamba.
Yeah.
Which was to do with, was it Ricky Valance? Sid and Nancy was to do with Sid Vicious, and his girlfriend at the time, Nancy Spungen. Obviously, when Sid died anyway from that story there. There was one that Will Smith did for called Ray, wasn't there? Kurt Russell did Elvis.
Yeah, can't really see Kurt Russell doing Elvis, but there you go.
No, it apparently worked very well. John Carpenter made that.
Right, okay. I'll tell you.
So there's been
I was just thinking, I'm going to go right off the wall here with this one. And this is for a British group. They had one hit. And they didn't like the fact that it was a hit, evidently. And that is, let's see a movie about Doctor and the Medics.
Really?
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting to have a movie about a group like that who got such a massive success with, like, Spirit in the Sky.
Well,
and then pulled away from it all and what the motivations was from it. Because they still do gigs.
Yeah. I tell you what would be controversial now, from what I brought up earlier, but what if they did a Michael Jackson biopic?
Well, yeah, but whoever produced that, it'd either be Subdued or it would be it would be completely fictitious, one or the other.
Well, you know, it'd be very difficult to pull off now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Due to the recent events, but
I mean, another, you know, I loved Queen. Queen has always been my number one group, but the other option would be my second favourite has always been the Pet Shop Boys. But I don't think that would be an interesting movie.
Well, no, that's why I said it's a bit difficult to pull off, because I can think of some great bands that I love.
I'm thinking as well, you could do a movie about George Michael, especially around his trial and stuff like that, you know, where the controversy that he got into. So there's always that one. And I did think about somebody else, and it's just completely gone out of my head.
Actually, I tell you what, a really old one that was, which was pretty good actually, was the Buddy Holly story. I know that's probably, a lot of people wouldn't probably, you know, think much of it. But Gary Busey, who played Buddy Holly, really pulled that one off. Yeah. As performances go. I didn't think it was that, well, I thought it was earlier than that, but 78. Well, I mean, didn't realise that.
Time flies.
Well, I thought it was older than that.
All right, okay. Time doesn't fly then, it's obviously dragging.
And you had, do you remember Amadeus?
Yes.
So, you know, there's been a few out there. It's really interesting to think about that. Anyhow.
I think it's one of those things of it's difficult to say unless you're a real uber fan of it, whoever it is, so that you know a bit about the history and whether or not it'd make a good or an interesting film. I think that, you know, because, what do you call him, Robin Williams has got into trouble occasionally, hasn't he? That might make a good movie. I don't know what trouble he's got into, but, you know, it's like things that you hear and that, but also just the type of character he is.
Actually, I tell you, I've got a band, actually, because obviously he had his solo career as well, and he's still alive. Yeah. And that is The Police. Yeah. With Sting. Yeah. Because if they did a concert now, that'd sell out like hotcakes again.
Well, I always say to my wife that if I die before her, as my coffin is being taken away out of the church, I want Every Breath You Take to play so that I can creep everybody out.
Funny that this has been an interesting chat one night. I tell you that I was thinking about this months and months ago about what to have with your, you know, the day you peg it. Yeah. And you've got a little list of songs for your eulogy at your funeral. Yeah. Maybe that'd be a good question to put out on Facebook and see what people come up with. Yeah. Because I was thinking of something like just maybe on coming into the funeral would be Robbie Williams' Angels, and maybe like the Star Trek theme from Star Trek 2 at the end with Leonard Nimoy doing the, you know, the Final Frontier and all that as an outgoing.
Oh yeah, I was just saying you're not going to have William Shatner doing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. No, I'll tell you what you want. What you'd want is Bill Shatner doing Common People.
Well, it'd be good to have something that would make them laugh as they're leaving.
Yeah. Have you heard Bill Shatner doing Common People?
I may well have done. I've listened to some.
Brilliant! It really is. I absolutely love that version. Much prefer it to Pulp's version.
Yeah, but I just think you could have this. You know, it'd be interesting what other people thought, what they'd like to have as their eulogy on their funerals.
Yeah, someone stick up a Facebook post and then add him to it there.
Yeah, have some interesting tracks that you'd like to put out there.
I just want to creep the hell out of everybody. That's why I want to do Every Breath You Take.
Yeah,
because of the end of each chorus is, and I'll be watching you.
Oh dear.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Is that it now? I think we're done.
Yeah, not so many questions these weeks. So come on, get them in, guys.
They're probably playing too many games, so we're giving that excuse.
Yeah, probably. Or either that or just probably trying to wait for Anthem to load and not crash.
Yeah, and then they can give a load of moaning about that.
Yeah, exactly. All right then, Steve. Do you want to do your contacts?
Yeah, as usual, Twitter @Steve007. PSN ID is the real Steve007 and Xbox Steve007. Email Steve007@popculturegamers.uk, or even more so, you can easily get us on Twitter because they're pretty much a quick reply straight off the bat.
Yeah, okay. My contact details is, well, basically just search for HERJ UK on everything. PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, Twitter, YouTube, Uplay, GOG, and anywhere else, to be honest, because I'm always known as that. You can also follow the show by going to our Facebook group. Just search for Pop Culture Gamers. There is a couple of questions, answer those, and either Steve, myself, or one of our admins will let you in. Any inquiries, email podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. Our website is popculturegamers.podbean.com. We are on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, and other platforms, and you can also download our Alexa skill, and you can play the show on your Amazon Echo using that. And don't forget, we now have our merch store, which is on steamlabs.com/HERJUK. Just look for merch. And if you want to support the show as well, you can also do us on Patreon @PopCultureGamers on there. That's it, really. So it's another show in the bag, show number 41.
What are we going to call it before we go?
I thought I'd said that earlier on about what one of the films I'd...
Oh, okay, because it's your turn. Yes,
so
yes.
I thought Feed Me Seymour. So if that's all right with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we'll call it that then. All right then, guys. Well, thanks very much, and thank you to Steve for having another show with us. And as usual, and Steve will be in the big seat next week, and we'll speak to you then. Bye now.
Oh, not the same intro as usual.
All right,
okay.
It's Cheers. A good night from me.
And a good night from me.
Good night.
Good night.
You are about to witness history in the making.